Hey guys, Mr.K here. Been a while since I made one. Everybody's asking, what are you going to do next? Well, I got one now. Evo Dyna, and it won't start. So first thing we're going to do is, the owner has been messing with it. He said the battery is good and everything, but I don't take that for granted, and we're going to go ahead and check the battery terminals first. Okay, so we're going to start with the negative. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. It's a 10 millimeter, and it's going to be tough to do with one hand. So let's take a look here. First of all, try the positive. Is it tight? Yeah, it's tight. And the negative side, pull it out of the box. Negative side's tight. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, make sure the cables are good, wiggle them around. So if we turn the key on, got lots of headlight. And let's go here, we'll see. You can hear it. Okay. Well, let's check the battery. So we're going to go ahead and get our meter. And we're going to hook it up and see what we got. So hook your positive up and make sure you're not going to spark against the frame. I have my meter with alligator clips on it. This is really tough to do with one hand. I may have to come back later time and get this done. There's the negative, that's that. And you can go right off this post for the negative. Let's take a look here. We're going to put it on to volts. Hey, we're at 12 and a half. That's a pretty good battery. So let's turn the key on and see if it drops. Not bad. Let's try starting it and see if it drops. Nothing. Alright. Let's take a look and see. Oh, I see. He's got the wire unhooked. Okay. Now let's take a look and see if we can hook the wire up. Okay, so the wire's hooked up, and we're still at about 12 and a half. So we're going to go ahead and turn the key on, see what happens. Well, it sounds like a dead battery, but it's not a dead battery. So obviously, we know that we're getting power off this wire down here from the switch. Is the battery cable giving the starter enough juice? Let's take a look here. So we'll take our positive off the battery and we'll put it down here on the starter. Make sure that the cable's good. Yep, we're getting the 12 volts right down to the starter. But it's whenever the switch activates it, that it's not working. Well, the customer got me a starter, told me to put it in, so looks like that's what we're gonna do. Go ahead and put a starter in. I do not believe it's his battery or his connections. So we'll go ahead and remove the battery and the box. I'm not sure how I can do this with one hand. So, all right, I'll be back. Okay, so we're gonna unhook the battery, and you always start with your negative. So we're gonna take this off. Hopefully you can get it with your fingers. It's got the spacer on a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and just put the spacer right back in here with this block. And we'll go ahead and unhook the positive. Gotta be careful that you don't touch your wrench off of any grounds or anything like that. It's kind of tough to do with one hand. I'm not very good at this. Okay, so we take that. I'm just going to unhook the wires. Pull his battery out. And then move it over here. Don't want to lose this hardware, so I'm going to put it back in there. Okay, so he had the K box cover, lid, and all that off, so I'm going to go ahead and look at his cables. Everything looks pretty good here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove his box. How hard this stuff is to do when you're trying to do it with one hand. And you can go ahead and remove his box, and now you can access the starter pretty good. Okay, go ahead and put his hardware back in there. Here's his bolt wire. Looks good. Here's your other one. Okay, so we need some long Allens. And check his ground cable. Okay. Alrighty. Let me get some tools. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this cover off. watching you don't scratch his pipes. You don't want that. Move this over. On the new starter, you'll probably have to replace this cover. We're going to take the positive battery cable off. And I think it's a goofy metric 12 millimeter. Yep. 12 millimeter. It's got that boot on it because when the battery's hooked up, it's live. It has power to the starter. So you want to unhook that. This to it too. That's how you power up your brake. Okay. Put that back on there. And then if you have a ball Allen on a 3/8 drive, it's really handy. So you can get down in there. Yeah. I already have these loose. Take these starter bolts out. Here's the other one. Yeah, I had that loose too. There's only 2 starters that hold this in. 2 bolts that hold this starter in. Now we're going to have to go over, there's one, there's the other, and that's what holds your ground. Holds the ground cable on. There you go. And now your starter. Okay, now on to the other side. Alrighty, so we're going to have to take this side off to access where his starter drive is up here. So we're going to need to remove his foot shifter peg, his floorboard, the inspection plate, the primary cover, and we're going to drain it and all that. But I always like to make a nice line so that I can get his shifter back on to his preference. That's just me. I like to do that. And then you just go ahead and loosen this pinch bolt up. You can see it's got a little bit of leakage there going on. That's alright. That happens. You got a bent bolt too. This pinch bolt is what actually holds it in there. There we go. We got it out. We should be able to take that off. And there we go. I'm going to put that back in there so he doesn't lose it. Alright, again, I've never done this with one hand. Okay. And this comes off with these 2 Allen bolts. They're right into the frame. Now I just loosened these up while I was on pause because I can't do it with one hand. But you see what I'm saying? Take that off. And that. need my assistant here, but she's not here. Okay. Move that over. And that. So now we can go ahead and get ready to take the inspection plate off. This is Torx. So I like to use a Torx with a driver on it. It's just easier and it doesn't strip out the Torx as much. And again, I'm doing this with one hand. I don't think I'll try this by myself anymore. That will get it off. He needs a complete service anyway, so we're going to go ahead and change all three of his fluids, his oil and filter, primary fluid, and the transmission lube. 2 short bolts, 2 long ones. Just going to go ahead and pop that off easy and delicately so we don't put any marks on it. Drop it on the floor. Okay, and then you can get in there and see your fluid. You look bad. Reach in and check the chain tension, which we can set all up later. Now, I will tell you that when you go to drain your primary, right underneath here is a Torx bit. Okay, so you're going to want to drain that. But you want to have it open somewhere so it's not creating a suction or anything. So you want to open that inspection plate if you're servicing it or something, and then go ahead and drain this. I also recommend too, and I do this every time, that I start with a completely clean drain pan. So if there's any kind of metal shavings or anything, I'm not confused. Was that from the last time I used it or anything like that? I always make sure that I use a clean drain pan. And it is a T40, I believe. Yeah, T40. We're going to go ahead and drain that. All right. Again, make sure you use the right size. Because you sure don't want to strip it out. It'd be a lot easier if I could see. Once you get to a certain spot, you can just take it. Get it out with your hands. The newer bikes aren't like this. This is just an Evo. Alright. Pretty clean fluid. Not a lot of shavings or anything on the magnet. That's good. Okay. Yep, so we'll drain that. Yeah. You get them a new inspection cover gasket. Alright. Let that drain. Then we're getting ready. And we'll go ahead and take that primary off. All right. Okay, so I took all the bolts out, the primary. I got drain pans underneath. Let me just tell you, you never want to go ahead and fool inside of your primary with a battery hooked up, because if you engage the starter drive somehow, you can take your fingers off. Also, too, some of these primary bolts are short and some of them are long. You want to know which ones go where. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and take that off. And you're going to be able to see inside of there. And there's our starter drive. Okay, so we want to go ahead and see what's going on. We're going to put this over here on the drain tank. Let it drip over. I keep a barrel over here full of junk to it can drain. Okay. Mr. Panhead, Mr. Mustang. All right, Mr. Evo. So now we're going to go ahead and see if there's anything wrong with the starter drive. Chain's nice. Maybe the starter drive's this bad or pinched. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, take this tab off, loosen this by holding that, and then your starter drive will come right out. Okay. I'll be back. Okay, so I bent the tab back. And it's a 5/16, and I already have it loosened while I had two hands. You're going to unthread it from the starter. And your starter drive is going to be able to come out. Nice and black. And there's your spring and there's your drive. There's that. And we should be able to come over to the other side and remove the starter. Alrighty. It looks to me like the clip came off the end. Maybe not. But there's the starter. Alright. Okay. Now we're going to see about putting the new starter in. Okey-doke. Okay, guys. I got the new starter. And it's in, and all the wires are hooked up. I just reversed everything that I just showed you. The only thing you got to make sure is there's a sleeve inside of there that you get it on the new starter, and make sure you get it on there the right way. Other than that, it's basically a reversal of what we did. Okay, so I went ahead and buttoned everything up on this side. We got his primary back on. We put the plugs and the bolts and everything. Put his shifter back on the way it was. We put a new quart of fluid in it. You can go ahead and use that stuff. All right. Now let's see if it works. So I put his battery back in. All right, so we're gonna hit that. Hopefully it's gonna start. And it works. Yay. All right. Another customer happy. Had to replace his starter, but oh well, that happens. So, but it isn't too bad of a job. So. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Happy Easter. Hopefully you have a good one, and remember that he's not in a tomb. He's risen. God bless.